biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and joining us right now is my man, Aaron Fraser in the building. He's the founder of the Diamond Movement. Tell us all about it, brother.
Yeah, dude. Happy to be here. With Diamond Movement, really what it's all about is taking people like myself, like when I got started in my entrepreneurial journey, that have really got to a point in their lives where it's almost like they stop setting goals. Like they're successful already with what they do, but they get to a point where they kind of go stagnant, you know? And teaching them really how to come back to the basics, come back to, like what were your passions that you used to strive off of when you grew up? What do you really love to do that you had to let go when you became an adult, right?
Yeah.
So basically what we do is we kind of bring people back to that core baseline, and then from there leverage it and monetize it and show them how they can actually build a business around something they love to do. Because you've heard the saying, right? You do something you love, you never work a day in your life. So really, that's really what it's about. And what we do is we leverage social media, the online space, and affiliate marketing. You know about the industry's blowing up like crazy, right? So
Everybody
that's really
wants that
what
laptop lifestyle, you know?
Yeah, the laptop lifestyle for sure. So really that's what the movement's all about.
Very cool, man. So let's identify, I guess, how the heck did you get into this? I mean, because that's the real thing, is the story behind how you got into it. And then I want to kind of like open loop here, talk about some of the little tips on how people can do it successfully. But first, take us back. How'd you get into the space?
Yeah, man. So I'm actually an electrician by trade.
Okay.
So did really well with that. Became pretty successful in that industry. Was making six figures a year as an electrician. But really what ended up happening was there was a few little pieces that kind of pushed me into it, right? One of them was I was in a relationship at the time and, really loved this girl, fell in love with her. And what ended up happening was I started becoming a product of my environment on site. Like I loved my job. I loved being an electrician, more or less settled for it, but loved the job.
When that's like the best thing you think you can do,
you're
like, I'm good.
So, just kind of leveled out, plateaued out. But because of the environment that I was around, I became a product of it. And I would come home, and whenever I would see her, I would complain about how much everyone else was complaining at work, right? So I would bring that back because I was a foreman position, so I had to deal with the problems and sort stuff out. Not being aware of what I was doing, and what that started creating is it actually broke apart the relationship, right? So then it was like, okay, dude, like, figure it out. Why is this happening? Then the next step too was really like going back to the core things that I love to do. So I grew up racing snowmobiles.
Nice.
Really wicked childhood, I have to say. I had a lot of fun. Spoiled rotten, essentially. But of course, had to get away from snowmobiling the more that I worked. Like as I started to get my promotions and everything, you have
like
more
you were saying, as you become more of an adult. Whatever that means. More responsibility.
More responsibility. Traveling away for work all the time, always on the road. So it was really hard to really, enjoy riding. I couldn't really do it, so I had to fall away from that, right? So I was like, how can I for one, create some balance in my life and help with my relationships, because I'm always gone. Spent 72% of my life in some other home, like not even in the home that I owned, And, also be able to do the things that I love to do more, right? There's so much opportunity out there. So that's where it started to kind of, it was the awareness level that happened. So now I was looking for it, right? And, I remember talking with some friends, the 5 to 7 incomes, that's really how you make more money. That was the drive. Like, how do I make more money? Because more money is going to fix everything, right? Just that thought. We all know money doesn't buy happiness at an awareness level of like, heard it before, the cliche term. But a lot of us don't understand it until we experience it,
there's so many sayings around money. One of them is like, money just amplifies who you already are. Like, there's all these sayings, and I feel like they're all true to a degree, but there's also a lot of variables and context missing from those sayings. But I agree. I mean, there's actually a scientific study that showed money can buy happiness up to, I forgot what it was. It was
70,000, I think.
It was geographical locations, so 70 grand. It was like 130 grand in like certain regional states in America. I don't know what the global would be because of living expenses and taxes and stuff like that. And then it said after that, happiness actually didn't go up In some cases, it actually went down.
Right.
Because you have more responsibilities. If anything, you're more stressed out because now you're renting the boat and the bigger house and the getaway, and you're living above your means, or you're living worse. Above your means or at your means. So as soon as the paycheck goes away, it's like, oh my God, I have all these bills. It's like, that's because you were living $1 million lifestyle on a $100,000 salary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man. So that's really kind of the first trigger, right? Was thinking that with that mindset, right?
Money's gonna solve everything.
I gotta get more money, bro. It's gonna fix my relationships. I'm gonna ride my sled more.
Yeah.
And that's where I just started looking, and I was, the awareness level's up. I'm like, okay, how can I make more money? I was renting out my house because I was never in it, so it became an asset. I was working full time. I had some investments on the side with RSPs and everything else. And I'm like, okay, I just need another income. Where can I get that? And then I'm like, well, online, bro. Like the store never closes. The internet never closes. It's not like offline. So I'm like, how can I tap into that? And literally just seeing an advertisement through social media, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna check this out, and dove into it from there. And being, very analytical person, just like dug through it, and it was one of those things where it's like, this could be real, right?
Let me find out.
So I got to dig through it. I've always heard, my parents and everyone told me stay away from the online space. That's where people get ripped off and scammed. Not really putting in consideration on how the world's moving right now.
Yeah, everything's online.
Everything, right? And it was like, I need to have like 100% solid proof before I back out of this, because I've already taken the step to look into it. So if I don't, I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot per se later on if I see this guy killing it, in like 2 or 3 years. So that's really where it all started.
Very cool. So, obviously you ended up finding out that there was a path that you could follow to succeed. As you began to do that, how long did it take for you to start to really get the results that you were after?
Oh, man, it was crazy fast.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I don't have the typical entrepreneurial story, it wasn't like...
I came out, I've failed.
Like it wasn't like the, broken family and no money and all of that. It was 50, so I actually got plugged in with a couple mentors of mine now, and they helped me get started. And in 53 days of actually running promotions and advertisements through social media, I surpassed my income as an electrician. So I was working full time. So I was working.
But you replaced your monthly income?
Replaced my monthly income.
In 2 months?
In 2 months, my second month in. So the first 4.5 weeks, nothing. It was just, money in. And then all of a sudden it just hit. And it was like, okay, I can do it once, I can do it 1,000 times.
So is that pretty common, do you think? Or
I have seen it duplicated. Like I actually mentor people as well now.
Now that you've gotten results.
So I'm able to share that with them, right?
Yeah, because you're always one step ahead of someone.
That's right. So I need more sledding partners, basically. So I got to teach people to get there, because the problem is now is like I can ride any day of the week.
But no one else can.
But everyone's working, right? So, I'm able to give that back now. But, it happened really quickly for me, and I've seen others do it too. Is it super typical? Not really, right? But you understand business. Usually within your first 3 years, if you can profit, that's a successful business. And I've seen that and learned that from my parents, because they actually owned a snowmobile dealership to support me to race, which was pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
But it was about 3 years before they started being in the green, right? So, and I was able to pull that off.
Especially for a brick and mortar location. But again, there's a lot of variables out there. But for the most part, most people are a 10-year overnight success, a 5-year overnight success. So the fact that you started a new venture and were successful early on is huge. But I think the real reason why, or one of them, I'm sure amongst a laundry list of things, was you said mentors.
Right.
So for people out there that don't maybe have mentors right now, or they think that, I can't get a mentor, I don't have money. What do you say to somebody like that that's limiting themselves from having the benefits of a mentor?
Man, the internet itself, man, you can get around anybody, right? And, just submerge yourself with their social media, follow what they're doing, get involved in their classes that they're hosting, more or less like stalk them online in a sense, because you can get around them and see what they're doing and see how everything's working and seeing what they're tapping into, and then just ask.
Yeah, most entrepreneurs, and odds are if there's somebody that's getting a result that you want, there's someone who probably has a social media that you can follow. You can see their journey. You can probably, most likely, listen to their show or podcast they're on, or go to their events that they're speaking at,
Absolutely.
or read their books.
Yeah.
Success leaves clues, and most successful people have created something that you can follow. So I love that you brought that up. So your first advice is go on the internet, start doing some research.
Yeah, start digging in and really, like, you know, the same reason why I stepped into this game was I started becoming a product of my environment, right? Because of the negative side of things. So, you know, surround yourself with the successful people in, you know, the niche or whatever business that you want to get involved with, and, you know, submerge yourself in that. So you don't have to physically surround yourself with them, because the online space is so powerful that, you know, you can be there through Snapchat and Instagram and, you know, Facebook anyway.
Things can be digital. I hate when people say, yeah, but I live in blah, blah, blah area and there's no one here that's like that. I'm like, there's the internet and there's video chat and it's all for free.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses. What would you say, as we kind of come to a wrap here, is one of the best pieces of advice you've either read or that you've heard from one of your mentors?
Best piece, man, I think is really figuring out who you are. You know, it's a simple question.
But most can't answer it.
But no, yeah, man, it's so fun, because I do that with my students now, right? And I go, before we get into the technical stuff, before we teach you how to run advertisements or any of that, who are you and what do you want? Right? Define those two. They're simple questions, but they're not easy to answer usually.
And when you have clarity around that, the rest becomes much easier.
Absolutely, because now you have that driving force, you know, and you know, I know a lot of people getting started, their driving force is to make more money, right? Because they're not, lots of the times they're not financially set up, where for me, I was financially set up, but I had to figure out, you know, really what I wanted to do with it all. So I had to really take that time and be like, who am I? How do I define myself? And what do I actually truly want? Right? So taking that time, I mean, maybe you've heard this one before, but the best time you can ever spend is time on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not saying spend 24/7 just thinking about things, but allotting that time even daily, if you can do it, on, okay, what do I want? Write some stuff down, contextualize things, verbalize things. That's another really big thing too. But coming back to that core piece of just like, who are you? Define yourself, and what do you really want? Right? Because those are the most, once you get clear on those, everything else just kind of starts to happen seamlessly, you know?
So you've pretty much teed it up perfectly to close on how can somebody follow you so that they themselves can go from, you know, struggling or in a job that they don't really like that is paying the bills to actually getting to the life that they want. Where can they follow you?
Yeah, get me on Facebook. Follow my Facebook page is the main core.
Cool.
And from there, we can tap into a few different facets, right?
Nice.
But that's the main one.
Thanks for coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
dude.
you, man. I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars. And if you want to watch more of our shows, you can go to our Facebook page or, as always, businessrockstars.com.